everybody? Welcome on into this week's episode of How You Getting On. Live here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. IrishGenesis. Genesis, how are you doing today?
How are you keeping?
I'm doing very, very good. Jenny, what's the crack with you this week? What have you been up to?
Oh, don't even want to talk about this week. This week has been the most stressful week of my life, man, when it comes down to like trying to sort out the stream and stuff. Oh man. I swear, if I didn't have people around me, man, I swear I'd be fucked. Like, I'd be completely fucked.
Yeah, so right now, for anybody listening at home, you're going through a rebrand right now with Twitch. We'll go into that very briefly. How are you finding the whole process of kind of putting everything on brand and kind of everything looking unison together? How are you finding that process?
It's definitely more professional. Everything that we've done looks like 10 times better than what it was. So I'm pretty happy with that. But all in all, you know, it's could have been better. Yeah, probably. Like, there's a few things I could have done better with it. But I'm gonna see how it goes when I come back streaming, and then obviously we go from there. And better it if we need to. But it's just been a long process, man, and it's definitely something that I wouldn't do again. Like,
yeah,
it's like I don't think people actually realize the amount of time and effort that goes into making a stream look good.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
There's so many different aspects to it. Like, I know I was chatting to you already, but like, if you're a content creator and you ever want to either start up a channel, or if you go through a rebrand where you want like new logos, or you want new emotes or new badges, it takes a lot. It takes a lot, and I know myself. As I said, I know I said it to you, but I done all my rebrands on my own from start to finish, and it literally takes weeks of work and grind, and even just to figure out what kind of designs you want, and it's a mad process. But I seen some of the work. It looks really, really good. When are you actually fully coming back? When's the date for anybody watching?
Tomorrow night we will be back officially. Finally.
All right. So if anybody wondering, that's the 28th of January. We're going to see Jenny back. What are you going to be doing on stream?
So I'm going to keep that as a surprise with a few new added additions. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy a few of the new things we've added, especially for channel points and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people like have gathered a lot of channel points on my stream over the last while, because I didn't have many options to use stuff for it, because I didn't really know which way I wanted to go with it. So I definitely feel like it's going to be huge in a sense of like people will like the two, especially two of the renditions I've added into it. Because you get like obviously with one of them you can earn yourself some cash, but it's not just about like clicking the button and getting some cash. It's like it turns the stream into more of like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Irish version style, but with twists and turns, basically. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting.
That's sick. Okay, for anybody else wondering as well, if you're listening to the podcast, IrishGenesis on Twitch, check him out. Right, Genesis, we've had a mad week. Not only for you, obviously, with the rebrand, but my God, there's been so much going on this week. Let's start.
You've been busy yourself, haven't you? With all these.
Look, I have been busy. I've been doing a lot of events for commentary and with the Legion guys and stuff. Yeah, I've been flat out. But while being flat out, I missed so much of this. I couldn't believe my chat today when they were telling me some of the news this week. Starting off, man, whole country opens up essentially overnight. This came out of nowhere. I remember my girlfriend Aisling being like, right, they're planning on opening up the country again. This will probably happen in the next week or two. And a day later, suddenly everything's open. Coppers is packed. Lads are out on the boozer, and you wonder, like you were already questioning like the whole vaccine situation and if people should or shouldn't do it and all this. But you kind of think in a way it undermines the vaccine in some way. How did you kind of feel about the whole country opening up?
Well, so let's break this down, right? So I got my first vaccine in the start of December.
Yeah.
And Jamie J. Carr invited me to the karaoke thing. And I was going to go. I was down for it, but obviously the place then said that you had to be fully vaccinated to get in. So I said, well, I can't go then because my second vax isn't until mid-January.
Yeah.
But the worst part about it, Chris, is that I was against the vax the whole way. Like I felt like, at a certain age, as I went on about this age, and if you have respiratory problems and all, like all that kind of stuff fully on with getting the vax and helping yourself. But if you're healthy and there's not an issue with you, like myself, like I have no issues, like, I mean, I've no breathing problems or any of that shit. So, and yeah, okay, people say I'm old, but I am only 31, like it's still fucking young.
Is indeed.
So like I felt like I didn't need the vax, but then it came down to like certain things like obviously with Jamie's events and stuff like that kind of stuff. Um, Especially with us like with the podcast and what we kind of look forward to doing.
Yeah.
Going for traveling over to try and go to Insomnia and then going to TwitchCon. So all these things I knew I'd have to get vax for because of the way they told us. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
told us you have to this and you have to that. So I went and got me vax on the same day, I think it was. No, sorry, the night before they opened up the entire fucking country. I go get my second jab, and I'm in bed the next day dying, absolutely sweating buckets and everything, overheating to bits,
Yeah.
just to find out then that literally I'm going through this for nothing because I can just stroll into a pub then next day.
Yeah.
That was irritating.
It came out of nowhere, and like, you know, I feel like with the government's plan so far, they gave people somewhat of a roadmap, and that roadmap was followed. Now I know they mentioned about possibly opening up stuff at a certain date, but this literally came out of left field because cases were rising more than ever, and you're like, right, surely they're going to turn around right now, and they're going to maybe we're going to see another lockdown, or maybe even put more kind of barriers to kind of how people live their lives. But Jesus, it came out of nowhere. They just completely opened up the country. Even like I was talking to my mom earlier, and she said she went on a bus and nobody had a mask. She was the only person with a mask on a bus. So I don't know what the story is, if there's leeway on it, or I think it's only like in retail and in places where you actually need to go, like obviously like hospitals and this and that. Obviously you still need to wear a mask, but for everywhere else it's open. And like, you know, it's just a bit mad how it's gone from the full security, then we've seen cases rise, and then it's just like, yeah, forget about it.
Well, that was it. Like it was only a few weeks ago, coming up to Christmas. I find it as well, especially they make a big deal of it, especially around big events like so holidays, Halloween, all this shit. Yeah, they blow it out of proportion. Like they blow it to new levels. But like 90% of what you see in the media, like with the numbers, I think that's bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Straight up, I don't think the numbers are as close as they say they are.
You mean they're lower than what they
Yeah,
say?
I think they are lower than what they say. Like because there's been cases where people have went in and especially back like this was back now when it was all like blown up and people were freaking out about it and so on and so forth, and the media really scared the fuck out of people because even people that were going in with other problems into the hospital, like if they were sick and shit, at the time they had to be tested for COVID, like, and if something happened to them it was put down towards a COVID death than it was a standard, like, you know, the person may have died from some other illness or whatever, yeah, but it was put down as a COVID death. I remember reading on the RT News they had a family on it, and it was the family had basically got the death certificate and so on and so forth, and the whole job of the process, what happened, and basically they put down reason of death was it was COVID, and the family were like, well, he didn't have any symptoms of like COVID. So,
I remember.
you know, and
sorry, go on.
I think that's still going through the courts. I'm really sure the family are all up in the business about that. They're trying to bring it to court and shit. But it's crazy, like, because you don't know what is actually true and what's not true when it comes to it, because we'll never know. Like the government are the one that has the numbers. We don't, you know. So we only get to see what is put out on the internet or what's given to us through the radio or whatever else, you know. So
yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. I definitely feel like you're obviously on the far end of it. You think like, you know, that the government are conspiring and all this, and they have like an intention behind their numbers. But I feel like I don't fully agree with the whole, you know, they're doing this for this reason. I think numbers might be skewed, not for the fact that not for the fact that they like I feel like they are taking track of anybody that comes into hospitals and does this and that, but there's so many people who have COVID that don't go to hospitals, and those are the people like you'd see on my stream, like people at home are like, oh, I got COVID, yada yada yada, I gotta do this and do that. And how many of those people are realistically going to be reporting this or going to the hospitals? I feel like everybody feels like a standard procedure right now.
Same thing as well, how many people have like got a common cold or a flu and they just automatically think they have COVID.
Yeah, or the other way around, or they think they think they have just have a flu and it actually is COVID. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different sides to it. I don't think there's any way for anybody to track the exact numbers of COVID. Obviously, it just comes into reported cases. But like outside of that, as I said, everybody's been getting this new variant that I know. Now, obviously, from what I've seen at least, it seems to be not as effective in terms of, you know, how people feel when they get it and this and that, compared to, let's say, the first strain that came around. Even though I thought it was supposed to be worse, it's definitely more transferable, but the effects don't seem to be as bad. But with that being said, like I just feel like the government, realized that since it's not having a big effect on people, that's why they kind of took down the barriers.
It's like, but the thing about it as well, the barrier thing is like last time the barriers came down in Ireland. Okay, there was weeks progress. So like first 4 weeks we moved from 6 to 10 people at a table, blah blah blah, 25 to 50 people at an event, and that went down every certain few weeks. Now, how do you go from telling us that we're at our all-time worst level at Christmas time, okay, and 2.5 to 3 weeks later, oh, it's gone now. Don't worry about it. It's grand because we closed the pubs at 8 o'clock now. COVID said, "Fuck it, I'm giving up the sauce. I'm not going out anymore." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Open up the country. We're vibing. That's like it. It just doesn't all add up. Do you know what I mean? There's. It's like it's like reading a book, but you never understand what you're actually reading. Do you get what I mean? It's
I know.
just a constant flow.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I just feel bad. I feel really, really bad for the people who, let's say over Christmas, didn't get to see their family, didn't get to see relatives, maybe because of one or two of these reasons. And
now
then
3 weeks later,
yeah, the government open it up as if like, it's grand now, lads. When like numbers are higher than ever, especially like with the transfer rate of this, it's ridiculous. So yeah, that's what I feel bad about, man. It's just anybody who didn't get to see family or close ones or whatever over the process of Christmas, when the government was like, all right, lads, we need to tie this in. And then obviously, like we seen like a week ago, it just all opens up and everybody's back in the piss again. And
but
yeah,
the gas thing is, a letter came out from the school, about 8 to 10 days before they opened the whole fucking country shit again. Yeah, 8 to 10 days, a letter came out from school, and basically it said, your kids aren't getting COVID in the school. They're getting it after you pick them up and bring them home.
what?
That's not word of a lie.
Is that what you got from?
Yeah. So the kids aren't picking up COVID in school. It's what the parents are doing after school with them is how they're getting the COVID. Now, that to me, like that should be on the next fucking, Lee Evans fucking.
No, it is a joke. It's a joke.
It's like, yeah. It's just like, yeah. My son left the house this morning. Nobody in the house has COVID. He went to school. I picked him up and, drove him straight back home, but he got COVID from the car seats. That's literally what, like it's yeah. Don't mind that he's mixing with 50 to 60 other kids at the playground, with 20 different fucking teachers every day and all that shit. It wasn't that. It was the car ride home.
Yeah, I feel like that's something you should definitely call them up on. But I don't feel like schools are equipped, man, to really deal with it at all. I mean, at the end of the day, they're kind of forced into the environment, and I'm sure they're going to blame anybody but themselves for doing it, because at the end of the day, I mean, teachers are getting put in a job. I'm not sure if there's any restrictions on teachers in regards to like COVID payment and this and that. I need to look into that, but yeah, I mean, look, that's obviously dog shit, man. I'd be definitely ringing them up after that, but yeah, it's just
I can't lie. I didn't bother ringing them up because I actually I think it was the morning coffee and the post came through and I just put out the recycling bin and we were reading it and we were like, I think about 10 minutes I stood there trying to, work out in my head who sat down and typed out this letter.
Some idiot, obviously. I mean,
I want to meet this fella. I mean, this guy needs to come on the show.
Yeah. But like, nah, it's a mad situation. But obviously, you can't base all schools off that one incident. But yeah, whatever school it is, man, Jesus Christ, not the smartest of people behind what they're doing. But yeah, look, it's a mad situation. We're gonna see what the next step is. My question, Jenny, do you think that when the numbers spike up again, they're gonna shut it down, or do you reckon that this is like an attempt for like a couple of months where the government's just gonna let it slide and see what happens?
Honestly, I know well enough that they're never going to just let it slide. They're always going to just, go into the, like Irish panic mode. Just shut the country down. Just, that's the answer for everything. In my opinion, it's time to learn to live with it and how to deal with it, because we have had this around now for 2+ years and we've learned about it. We know what to do, how to avoid it, what you should and shouldn't do, so on and so forward. No matter how many lockdowns, no matter what you do, is not going to change other people's perspectives. Everybody is different. There's going to be the younger generation, especially. They're going to go out and get locked in the pubs. They don't give a flying fuck.
Yeah,
because why should they? They're not going to be affected by it. Yeah. Yes, they'll be in bed sick, but it's like just like going home and getting a fucking hangover, a really bad hangover or a bad
Yeah.
fucking case. That's literally what it is to the younger generation. So no matter how many times you lock down the country, it's never going to stop it from being what it is. We just got to learn to live with it. We got to learn how to deal with it. The older people and the people that do have these risks just need to be careful and stay away from the people that that may cause a harm to you. So it's like it's common sense with anything. It's like what you always said when we were younger. Show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. Like, stay away from the wrong pack in a sense. You know what I mean? Stay away from the people that don't care about COVID or have no boundaries with it. You know what I mean? Stick to your own people that believe in, clean your hands, self-isolate and social distance, all that stuff. Stick with that. It just needs to be now. We need to learn to live with it the same way they did when the flu and the cold, all back in the heyday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just gotta learn. We just gotta learn, and eventually our bodies are built different. Like our immune systems are built to take on these stuff. Like, you take it on. Yes, you will get very, very sick and stuff, so on and so forth. But you will get past it, especially if you're younger and stuff. You
Yeah.
get past it, and your body has discovered it before, so it's felt what it's like to have this cold or disease or whatever you want to call it. So
Yeah.
you'll learn how your body will learn from it. It's like with anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't feel like I get what you're saying, and I agree with you in a lot of points there, just in regards to, like, realistically, is this ever going to go away? The way it's been working, like, like, I don't know what the process is to stop this strain, if there needs to be a new vaccine to come in or whatever, but just after the fact that it's kind of developed into another strain, I like what you're saying is there's not a lot you can really do. Obviously the government have opened up everything, but you have to just stick close, and people aren't going to be able to live normal lives for a long time until, I don't know, like I said, either our bodies adapt or whatever vaccine comes around next ends up working with our bodies. But yeah.
Well, this is it. Like, certain places, just wear your mask, sanitize your hands before you go into every single place, regardless whether it doesn't matter how much you rush in, just give them a quick slap up, because like, at the end of the day, like, especially in shopping centers and stuff, like, you touch the handle of a bar going up the stairs, or an escalator, or an elevator button, or even fucking picking up a PlayStation controller in the shop, the box, like, someone else might have picked up and didn't buy it. All these little things, just it's so quick. It's 2 seconds, like, and it just that's just the new way of life. But I don't understand why people are freaking out. Like, oh my god, you should have been fucking washing your fucking hands anyway, regardless, and you shouldn't be coughing on people, regardless, or you shouldn't be up on top of someone, regardless. So, like, these are just common fucking sense in a way. Like, it's just common sense. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean,
So
yeah.
I don't see why people are freaking out. I have to fucking sanitize every day. It's like, bro, it's called being a clean person. That's yeah. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, but I suppose it depends on, obviously, you're depending on people to do everything right, and obviously that's why the COVID is spread. So can't really depend on that for people not to be in those situations. And as you said, people really don't care, like the young people stuff. So it's kind of tough to get around. But yeah, look, we'll see what happens. I don't think that it's going to be closed down again for another while. I feel like this is going to be a process over a couple of weeks or even 1 or 2 months. That the government's going to trial out. But if there's any time, lads, to go out to the nightclub and do all that, I suppose it's now more than ever if it locks up again.
Blow off your steam now, just in case.
Yeah, blow off your steam now, lads, if you're feeling the wares of it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll read chat as well and see what you guys are saying. Dale the Ninja says the odds of getting it from surface contact is tiny. Coughing, breathing are all the real culprits. And it's like you were saying, Jenny, about like the way it spreads is just due to close contact with people. Obviously there is the cases where if you do touch a surface or whatever that is dirty, you can get it, but you mainly hear it from kind of human contact, being up close.
Yeah, but that's because, like, it's I'm nearly sure it's a law now, isn't it? The shops and stuff. I'm nearly sure it's a law in every shop and in the mall and all.
A law?
About like, they have to, it's like a certain so many times a day or some shit, they have to go around not Dettol, but bleaching the fucking yaff.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
like, I'm nearly sure that's a thing now. And especially if you're working in, like, because I've seen it in Duns, like, they literally have full-time cleaners going around,
Yeah.
spraying down everything. Like, I've seen that, like, you know what I mean, like, where anytime I go in, they don't have just, a standard shop, you might have 1, 2 cleaners, they're doing their bits or whatever, spill on aisle 4, no bother,
Yeah.
that kind of shit. But now it's literally, like, dedicated to I think it's like a constant flow. Like, so when the first bunch of people have gone around the shop, they go in kind of behind them, but not in an ignorant way, and spray down some of the stuff. And yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, myself. Um,
Yeah.
so, like, it's just small things like that does make a huge difference. And he is right. Like, obviously, it is from fucking Mongols going out and fucking, you know, hugging each other and licking each other. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, and not
you
being
know, it's,
yeah.
yeah, not like it's something like it's just, I don't know. Like, it's,
No,
you know,
it's a mad situation. Buzz the Bee says the schools just don't want to take the fall for spreading and want to keep them open. Schools defo spread it, but no one really wants to say it either. I think that's a really good point, because I mean, one of the first things to open up when we were in the midst of it was schools, and obviously there's education on the line there, so you know it is somewhat of a priority, but that definitely was a major cause. I mean, we've seen cases going up again through schools, and people really didn't know how to react to it, and parents were
yeah.
sending their kids to school, and like you Jenny, you're talking about, obviously, you know, your kid can come back with something from being, but you're talking about like 50-60 kids. I mean, for secondary schools you're talking hundreds, so
Yeah.
there's always a massive chance for that to happen, especially if you're sending your kids to school.
No, but the crazy thing is like the school, Tyler School itself is an excellent school. I just don't understand who the fuck was allowed into the typewriter that day. Like, I really don't. Um,
Yeah,
like, you know, they're an excellent school, and they are very well done. Like, on the sense of which way they've operated around the whole COVID system, because we were allowed to see what happened and stuff and what was going to happen. But it isn't, in a sense, like, obviously kids are like immune to this shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
yeah,
Like,
there's not a lot
they're
of, yeah.
yeah, they're carriers. Like, they might get a little snuffly nose or sore throat, whatever. But kids are the main carriers, and that was the breakdown of like granny and grandparents and house visits and stuff like that with the kids because of that thing.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it is that regardless, if everywhere else is kind of shut down and shut off, and society is just split apart, the only place that it can be like consumed is like in big crowds, which was schooling.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. Like, you know, even in shopping centers, I think you were like allowed 20 at a time. That kind of sit in the store. You had to wait outside. So that was literally, had to be the only case of where it was the viral spreading. You know. So
Yeah, no, that was definitely a big factor. But like Buzz said, you know, people didn't really want to acknowledge it, especially from the
yeah,
education standpoint. They definitely want to mention that at all. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Going on to the next topic, Jenny. Now, this is the topic mainly I was talking about when I mentioned earlier that chat told me this, and I was like, "What's going on here?" I was like, "This isn't real, is it?" I thought chat were winding me up. Then I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh my god." The Russians and Ukraine in this crazy situation. I did not believe this when I heard it, man. I've been so out with the loop. Russians testing, you know, bombs and stuff off of Ireland's
yeah.
coast. Then you have like the talks of like Irish fishermen, you know, kind of up against it and wanting to put up a front against these Russians, and like
So
it's absolutely crazy.
So the problem here is, right. So basically, with this is the Irish territorial waters. Okay, only go a certain distance offshore around the whole of Ireland. But outside of the Irish shores, we've called the EEZ, which is the Exclusive Economic Zone. So
Yeah,
basically that's another term where they shouldn't be inside that doing what they're doing, because that's actually a main area for a lot of the fishermen from Ireland and the UK, from the southeast of the UK, come down into that area to fish. So if the boys are out there in the easy and they're blowing bombs into the fucking water,
yeah,
you know, you're scaring all my goddamn fish away. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
it's a,
yeah, yeah,
it's a fucking giant nuclear, well, not nuclear, but a fucking giant fucking 50 missile fucking burying into the,
yeah.
you know what I mean? I never mind that, boys. Poor old car's gonna get hit by a fucking tidal wave if they keep doing it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's you gotta look at it in the perspective of the fishermen are dead right with this, and also I feel like the fact that they're inside the easy, this should be stepped up by EU completely. As a union, they should step up and be like, you shouldn't be in these waters like this. You know, I'm sorry, but Ireland and England's here, right? We'll put it on a little scale. Russia's fucking, you know, why are they
yeah.
so? You know what I mean? It's
Like
like,
that's the bit I didn't get as well. Like I understand that it's like whatever you want to call it, international waters or this or that, but they're well out of their zone over here doing all this, and it's why I was kind of confused. Now, obviously, there's a lot more information behind it. I've only briefly researched it earlier, but yeah, that's something that I questioned as well. Definitely.
Ireland is a weak link into the back door of EU into Europe. It is. Ireland is like, we haven't got a pot to piss in. If we get invaded, lad, right? what the fuck are we going to do?
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Like, you know, bit like I seen a funny little video, and it's like our weapons are like sticks off the tree, right, and stuff, yeah. And our bombers are seagulls, right, and fucking, you know what I mean. So like realistically, you know what I mean, and the fucking jellyfish were fucking the deep sea fucking
Yeah,
submarines,
yeah,
you know. So
yeah.
we are literally fucked. Like if Russia come in at the side of us in through Cork, they'd have Ireland wiped within 2 days. Done. They would storm Ireland within 2 days. All right.
Yeah.
The forces from America and the force from the UK, right? Even if they were to support Ireland, we're fucked. We're getting bombed from this side, we're getting bombed from this side, and we're being slapped in the arse by the Russians in the middle. That's the biggest fear around the factor of why they are fucking about outside Ireland. They're saying training and so on, and no harm, and the cabinet minister met with the fucking one of them Russian military boys and all,
Yeah, I
and
seen
everything.
that,
And
yeah.
what's bullshit? Fucking fuck off, will you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's at the end of the day, Ireland's supposed to be a neutral country. It's not supposed to have anything to do with wars or any of that bullshit. So realistically, we should be putting down a standpoint saying you're not allowed in our waters. You shouldn't be. Like, they're 240 kilometers off the coast of Cork. It still is too fucking
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, it
Because
is. And
if they do, right, so just take for talk's sake, Chris, real quick, and then I'll let you go. If Russia invades Ukraine, right, the USA and the UK are going to know that there's fucking big ass fucking ships outside of Ireland that are Russian. What, they're gonna bomb that shit. One missed target. That's all it takes. One missed target.
yeah, no, I get you.
So
We're in the kind of the fire side of it, and I
yeah,
think, like you said there, it's a fair point. I know a couple of people mentioned it to me earlier, the fact that Ireland are kind of the weak back door into Europe, because obviously you have the UK right there beside us, and with that being said, there's been a lot of tension. Now, don't get me wrong, the media always blows everything up, regardless if it's out of proportion or whatever, but the media will always kind of extend the whole, situation in terms. Obviously, we don't really fully know what the hell is going on. All we know is that Russia apparently pissed and over Ukraine. Well, what was the group they joined? Was it NATO? Ukraine were to join NATO, and it was
so basically NATO was formed a good time ago.
yeah.
And you're talking a lot of countries. Now you're talking UK, France, Germany, Italy, the whole lot, the whole shebang, right? Now, if Ukraine are sided with NATO or are part of NATO, okay, it is by in a legislation, we'll call it, right? I don't know what the proper term is for this paper, but
Okay.
in this legislation, if Russia were to get fucked by or if Ukraine were to get fucked in the arse by Russia, NATO have to respond. That means the UK, France, Germany, Italy, all them countries have to go to war against Russia. That's the scary part, because all it takes is one thing, and
Yeah.
we all know it, right? And love for the Americans. I have a lot of American mates. I love them a lot. But if America get a sniff at bombs or war or guns, them motherfuckers are just they're celebrating. They're like, let's go, boys. Here we go.
Yeah, yeah, I
And,
get you.
and if they get involved, it's game over for all of us, because the only army I'm actually terrified more than anything is the Chinese. Them boys don't fuck about. I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. Them boys do not fuck about.
10
They're like
boys.
them. Them boys are like jackrabbits. They come out of nowhere. You won't even expect what they gonna do. But them boys, them boys are built different. You know what I mean? Like, even in the battlefield, right? You shoot them boys. Them boys are fucking Jackie Chan and bouncing around the place, dodging the fucking bullets. You know what I mean? That's fucking that. You know what I mean? I'm
China,
being honest.
aka them boys. Them boys,
Yeah,
man,
no,
they don't mess around.
listen, sniper shot, no worries. He fucking takes the bullet out of the air type shit. Fucking Mr. Miyagi type shit. No, don't fuck with them boys. That's all I'm saying, right? Russians are mad in the head and all, right? But they'll get
Yeah.
drunk. They get drunk a lot. So you're grand. They'll invade a certain part. They go on the beer that night. They get drunk. That's your chance to get them. You know what I mean? 'Cause they're falling all over the spot. Chinese.
You should be the leader, man. The army leaders for this whole situation, man. You wait till the Russians are drunk, and that's when you clap them. You get them there now after a couple of pints.
You give them a small victory over one of the little villages, yeah. They go on the pints then and on the vodka and on. They start doing the Russian mad dancing and all, yeah. And that's when you go in from the back and you attack. You know what I mean?
It's mad about Putin as well, because he's like a black belt, isn't he, in jiu-jitsu, and he has a bunch of other martial arts behind him. So you can imagine him getting into the scene and throwing a few shapes, like,
I could see him waking up in the morning now and just fucking, instead of fucking getting ice with his fucking he's more an orange, you know. He fucking just has ice bricks and he just gets up and chops them. And,
In the
uh,
morning, straight into the vodka, chopping ice with his hands, like.
straight down there, and he's like, "Mother Russia," and just walks down the stairs.
He's a scary man, though. Like, you gotta admit, like, when it comes to leaders, I mean, Putin, he just has that face that you just like, man, like, what's he thinking? What's this lad up to? And
he has a head on him, like he's going to kill you the whole time.
Yeah, he does. He really does, man. Yeah. So he is a bit of a scary figure to believe in this whole thing. But like,
By the way, if he's listening in, Putin, we love you. We
love you, Putin. We love you, kids. Little kiss for you there, lad. We're listening. We're on your side, man. Don't be worrying, right? But yeah, no, like as you were saying there, we're hoping that obviously it doesn't affect Ireland. Obviously, a lot of you here are Irish in the chat. Hopefully we don't see any kind of bomb warfare or anything like that where there's going to be missiles left and right, especially around our waters. And we're hoping that whatever's going on with these other countries, that they can calm down Russia and bring it to somewhat of a standpoint. I was saying it for a while there in chat that it's been a pretty calm state in the world for a long time. We haven't really seen a lot of countries at least countries in Europe, or at least around our direction, in big kind of situations like this. And I know we had some situations before with South Korea and that, and we had a few international scares, but we've avoided them for the grand scheme of things. So I'm hoping this is another one of them.
Yeah, no, I think long term it'll be a long war, but realistically, I don't think Russia want to go into that, because you've got the USA and then NATO, which is that's a lot of countries fighting against you. So yeah, it's realistically, long term, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand what the big thing is. Like with the Ukraine thing, there's obviously a lot more to what they're telling us, but I guess it's just a waiting game and see what happens. We'll see. We just gotta wait. And hopefully we're left the fuck over, because I don't really plan on. COVID was bad enough. Never mind.
Yeah, I know. The fucking war right beside our water is it's a lot to deal with. But we'll see what chat thinks about it. Mr. Spinado said, "Lads, they're only having a submarine party off the coast of Ireland drinking vodka. We should be joining them." Now, listen, if that was the case, Jenny, I'd be all in.
Listen, please, I tell you, them Russians could drink. They put us to shame. Like, we could drink pints, but comparing when you're necking a pint of Guinness and some mad bastard beside you just necking a pint of vodka, totally different ballgame. Have you ever tried like proper Russian vodka? It's paint stripper.
It's ridiculous.
I swear to God, if you ever have, right, boys, if you ever want to get your car redone, resprayed, right, and you're trying to get off the old paint, just go pour a lot of Russian vodka all over. Burn off. It's just seep off the car.
Yeah, no, literally, it's the hardest stuff, man. And when you think of like countries that represent, like, how would you say, like hard bastards, Russia has to be number one. Like, you know what I mean, when it comes to the boys over there living in the cold, drinking vodka, having the crack. They even have their own dance, like, you know what I mean? The boys know what's going on, and but look, they know the crack. But yeah, hopefully we're not going to see any more from that. The updates that I want to see are fucking Russia being like, all right, lads, we're all right now, and then get EU to send them a couple of euro or something, send them off on their merry way. That'd be good. But yeah, listen. Next up, we're going back to a topic we're very familiar with, which is obviously football, Jenny. There's been mad transfers, man. I know you sent me a big list of some of these, and I was like, man, this is ridiculous. This January window has organized a lot of transfers for a lot of clubs, and it's going to mean a lot for even some of these clubs not in the top four. Like, that Coutinho move was massive. I'm not sure if it was confirmed about Azpilicueta moving away from Chelsea. You see, it's confirmed, is it? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Martial moving away as well to, I think it's Sevilla he went to. Is it Sevilla?
Sevilla on loan. I reckon that'll be a permanent deal. Though it's a loan, but I believe that there's somewhere in there is a buy clause, so that, like, they have an option to buy after his term.
Yeah.
So I reckon you'll see Martial in a Sevilla jersey full time if he has a decent couple of months.
Yeah. Now, like, once again, like, even City, my own club, signing Alvarez, the Argentinian striker, finally signing a striker. We talked about City getting a striker for 1 or 2 seasons now, and we finally have somebody who could look like a young replacement. But the biggest signing that at least we've noticed has to be Coutinho. Unbelievable. Yeah. We've seen Villa signing a couple of players, but what an absolute masterclass of a signing. Not sure how they got around that, but as a Liverpool fan, are you sad to see it? Are you happy to see him back? Where's your standpoint with it?
I'm glad to see him back in the Premier League, because, like, no matter as much as like just ways of looking at this. When he first left, I wanted to hate him because how good he was and what he did for Liverpool. Because that Liverpool time, the team that he came into, the very first team now, obviously before Suarez and stuff, he he was like carrying a lot of weight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He clutched up so much for us, like in so many games. But then you got to look at the other term where, he didn't have a good spell at Barca. Bayern, he was in and out, didn't really have a good spell either. So the fact that he's back in the Premier League, I think it'd be really, really good because he is a proper superstar. You know what I mean? He is. He's world class, like, and I definitely can see him leading Villa to success.
Yeah, I mean,
With,
such a quality player. I mean, just he's
yeah,
creative. I mean, like he's played for some of the best teams in the world, you know.
yeah,
And to join a club, not to downplay Villa, but to join a club like Villa, I mean, he must be like an inspiration for some of the players around him, and even for some of the fans. That
that Gerrard connection. You see, done that's what got that deal over the line. Gerrard and Coutinho had such. If you're a Liverpool fan, you'll know it. But Gerrard and Coutinho had such a good relationship at Anfield at the
yeah,
time. They've done a lot together out in and outside of the club. Especially in training and stuff, worked on a lot of stuff together because they bounced off each other a lot in the games. So that connection there definitely got that over the line 100%, which is
yeah,
another big thing. Like I think Steven Gerrard for Villa is massive. He will lead them to glory. I guarantee it. I know. Like Gerrard, he's a very clever man. You know what I mean? He's very very clever. And he
mm,
obviously knows football like the back of his hand. Like so,
yeah. No,
it's definitely a huge, huge move, and I think it'll only benefit Villa. I can see Villa being a tough team to party with now in the next year or two.
yeah, I mean, like I said, we're seeing them sign a couple of players. Only I think it was only today they announced Callum Chambers as well signing. They're really building a lot of depth to that squad. One rumor I heard now, I don't know how far this goes, Jenny. Maybe you could tell me more. But this whole Suarez rumor, have you heard about this?
Yeah. So obviously Suarez is having a lot of trouble. I don't know if like obviously since back with Barcelona, the way he was treated and how that was poorly dealt with and stuff. Ever since then, it's kind of be up in the air with Suarez. Like you know what I mean. He seems happy he seemed happy to let it go. Now, obviously, as same again. I'm going to go back to it with Gerrard there, Coutinho there. Is there a possible move for Suarez to finish his career at Villa under people that he's played with before and he had good friendships with before? 100%,
Yeah,
100%. So it's definitely something like that. A big move like that will be kept under the radar until last minute kind of thing. But
yeah,
that won't be. You'll see leaks here and there, but I wouldn't believe any of it.
mm,
Um, it's definitely a possibility. Maybe not January though. Maybe not this window. Maybe in the summer. Yes, but you never know. But like if there's anyone going to get the job done, as I said, that connection with Gerard Coutinho and
yeah.
to bring back Suarez. Like if they get Suarez and they have Coutinho, so Villa are going to be a different level. Like they are like because look at Liverpool when they had Suarez and Coutinho. They were different. They were different
Yeah,
level as well. So
unbelievable side. I have to give big props as well to Gerrard. Now, obviously, we've seen him come into the Premier League, and we see a lot of these managers come in, and some of them come and go when it comes to standards because they can't really keep up with it. But the one thing that I'd say about Gerrard that really impressed me is like what you're saying, the way he's like obviously we hear rumors about Suarez. He signs Coutinho, and you're saying part of that is part of this connection that he has with some of the players at Liverpool. And the only other manager you think about when you think about connections with players would be the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson, and he's obviously arguably the greatest to ever do it. So it's very interesting to see that Gerrard can kind of pull his weight for getting some of these players in.
yeah,
It's crazy to see, but it's really good to see at the same time. It's something not a lot of managers can relate to.
100%. It's like the same. It's like what I was saying with Wayne Rooney. Rooney's at Derby, like, but if Rooney went and took like the likes of the Everton job or something, I think that's what they need. I think they
Yeah,
need that kind of person. You know what I mean? To make the change because Everton need a lifesaver right now. Sitting in 16th, 3-4 points outside of relegation. They are in a bad position right now.
yeah,
One of the worst seasons they've had in a long time. So they definitely need something like that. So, like as I said, with them, when you have them connections with previous past players who are now managers, with players that are still in squad depth, I definitely find that to be a big value as a manager to be able to bring these people in because you've already got a good relationship with the player
yeah.
beforehand, as player on player. So player on managers, if it's only going to be the same outcome. So I guess it's only time will tell with Villa and same with Everton and stuff like that with Joe. So there's talks around all these things happening.
Yeah,
Um, but it's like you just gotta wait and see, really, isn't it? It's I think it'll happen. If I was to put money where my mouth is, I think yeah, Suarez will end up at Villa by
that'd
the
be
summer.
crazy, man. Like, like having Coutinho and Suarez at Villa is absolutely ludicrous. I mean, it's not something you would have bet your money on any amount of years ago. When you're seeing these guys in their prime, obviously, but it's crazy how some of these players and even the likes of, like, even some of the takeovers that we've seen, like with
Yeah,
Newcastle, where we're seeing a bunch of kind of players come back to the Premier League, due to either managers or takeovers and stuff. And it's kind of such a crazy era of football we live in. We have so many different aspects that kind of, I don't know. Would you say that, like, in the era of football we're in, where you have teams being taken over and kind of picking and choosing players, and even the, like, say, Gerrard and their relationships with players, you think it's a very, I'd safe to say, I think it's safe to say that it's a very fun time for football, to be a football fan at least, because you have so much different things going on. Well, what do you kind of make of the whole kind of modern era of football and how players are transferred?
obviously, I think the way everything's going with football right now, it is good, but it's like it's just what fathoms me the most is obviously the money. That's what
Yeah,
bothers me the most in football now. Like because the average player now is worth 15-20 mil, like stock average player. Like
yeah.
so much money involved. Like so that's why a lot of deals don't happen because clubs are overpricing so much. It is very exciting as in the sense of like this we're in an era now where the Premier League is at its most competitive.
Yeah.
The last few years, definitely. Now, obviously, different story for top two teams, top three teams, running away with it constantly, and so on and so forth. But as in the sense of like say third down to like ninth, 10th, the last few seasons has been epic watching that because it's been like a proper battle for European places. And
Yeah.
then obviously the relegation zones, like right now, Burnley are bottom of the table, but I think they'll survive. I don't think Burnley are going to go down. Like I honestly think Burnley will come back up. They're like 4 or 5 points behind safety.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they're currently 4 points behind safety, but you have Norwich in 17th, and there's 4 games at hand for Burnley, so they have the time to play. But even at the same time, though, like, for them, they're under major and immense pressure just for the fact that they know every game at hand is literally a relegation game. So it's definitely going to be
yeah,
a big factor to the games.
yeah, no, I definitely feel like Burnley will stay up. I just don't see them going down. Being honest, I don't. I think they'll get up, and I think Newcastle will stay up. So I'd be
Yeah.
worried if I was an Everton fan, though. I really would.
Yeah, it's a bad state. I mean, you're not used to seeing Everton like 11 losses this season. 19 points on the board, 16th place.
Yeah,
It's just like, yeah, they're not in the best form at all. And Everton fans as well. I mean, they have a lot of fans. It's Everton at the end of the day, so it's crazy to see a team like that so far down. But then again, I mean, yeah, you have teams like United who are in top four right now, who are kind of making somewhat of a comeback. It's interesting to see. Do you think with United that you need to give Ragnick more of a chance? How do you feel about that whole managerial setup?
um, it's it's a tough one, like because there's like again we had this conversation like last week, and then they went out and they scraped the 93rd minute winner. That is it was called for possibly offside.
Yeah,
I don't know. I still don't think they're at where they need to be. Like I really don't. Like I think Ragnick's not the problem. I said it from the get go. He's
yeah,
not. He's not the problem. United need to give him time. They cannot fire another fucking manager. They have to give him time. Because if they fire another manager, they're never gonna get out of the shit heap that they're in. Like so I definitely feel like they'll impress once they find their footing and they get in the right players and they get rid of the dead weight, as I call them.
yeah.
I definitely see that happening. Like they're not in big talk. Like Martial going, I think is a mistake. Um, if
Do
you
you
give me,
really though? I know a lot of United fans aren't really a big fan of Martial. Like, obviously he came into
Mm,
good form every now and then, but do you think he's one of these players then that they don't? You feel like they need it in the squad?
I think they need him, yeah, because now what happens if Lingard accepts the Newcastle thing deal? Like You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then all right, Cavani's gonna retire soon. He's old. Ronaldo, fair enough, but he's out getting old as well. Um, who have you got? Greenwood, Rashford. Rashford's what scored 2 goals or something in the last 3 games or something, but they're like
yeah,
it's not to boast over. Greenwood hasn't been hitting form for a little bit now as well.
yeah,
I just I just definitely think new signings and a new style of everything. The whole layout of the team. It's just it needs to be revamped in a sense. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but as I said, like I know what it's like. Liverpool went through this stage of dead weight and problems and players not connecting and stuff over a long period of time.
Yeah. Uh,
Scrappy cups here and there, fair enough, but yeah, United aren't out of the picture completely. You know what I mean? They can come back. It's just going to take a lot of work, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
No, for sure. And like we've already said in previous episodes, like United are a team that everybody's watching right now just because of their state is in they're in such an odd state, like, such a top team having so many problems internally, and then you have the likes of Ronaldo speaking out about it publicly, and you're like, you're wondering what the fuck's going on, like inside the club. But Martial, very, very talented player, but obviously he's gone now. So United, maybe it's not the style of play that was needed for the team. But
Maybe it's
yeah,
just it's just it's just like for me, Martial would suit like a fast paced going forward kind of style, and that used to be United.
yeah, counter
United used to
attacking.
be that team.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah,
used to be that team. Very similar to way Liverpool play. United used to play like that. Just fast paced going forward on the break. Swallow your whole football. And
mm,
now it's just playing around the back, into the mid, back to the back, up the side. It's very boring. Like, even though they're getting results, it must be very, very tough to be a United fan right now because there's no excitement. There's zero excitement for me. For me
mm.
watching them, I don't see the excitement in their style of football anymore. Like years ago, I used to love watching them. They were amazing. I hated them, but they were amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Like, they were
crazy as
amazing.
it's crazy seeing United even like in some of the games that I've seen, just making so many like easy mistakes. Like you don't see a United squad making so many mistakes that I feel like players have made on the ball. Now, obviously, there's a lot of pressure on the players as well, but look, it's Manchester United. There should be very high quality players all across the board, and um, United have always been a team that they've had always one really strong centre back, and they've always had a decent back four, and they're at a point now where they're very much lacking that. I know I think you said you weren't a big fan of Varane, were you?
No, I don't. I'm not a big fan of Varane. I'm not. I just don't think he's half the player he was at Madrid. But as I said, the Premier League isn't a farmers league. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Premier League's a totally different ballgame. Um, for me, like you got to look at it as well. Like, look at the players Varane played beside, and then you're sticking him with Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. Like, it's like, is it like we can't see his full potential when he's playing beside donkeys. That's the way I look at it as well. So we
Y-
can't really blame Varane. These
yeah.
problems were there before Varane came. They're still there while Varane's there. So it's obviously not Varane that's the issue. It's just that how is he supposed to show his true fucking. He
Yeah,
can't cover the whole fucking defense by himself. So
no, I agree. I agree with that a lot, and I'm glad you've kind of that's kind of your opinion on it, because I know you weren't a big fan of him, but like my opinion would be that exact one, that I don't feel like he's getting given a full chance. I know obviously he's only been in and out, but when he has been playing, he has made some good tackles and he has been involved. It's just obviously some of the players around him aren't really up to standard. But yeah, it's crazy time for football right now with transfers and takeovers and this and that. So we're going to see what happens, and yeah, very interested in seeing what Gerard does with Phil. It's gonna be very
there's,
interesting.
there's definitely there's a lot of things happening though. Obviously you have Diaz with Tottenham, you have Diallo and the Rangers loan deal. Another
Yeah.
United youth. There's a couple there. Van de Beek. If fucking United loan out Van de Beek to Palace, I've lost all hope for them. If they actually loan Van de Beek out to Palace, I've no more words. Guimaraes from Lyon going to Newcastle, huge booster for them. Huge booster. I have a
Yeah.
feeling he'll be a big player in the Premier League. That's someone I definitely find. Ericsson might be coming back to Brentford from Ajax. That could be fucking huge as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And then obviously this kid that all the Premier League clubs are scouting, 15-year-old kid called Endrick, supposed to be insane, next fucking top player. So
Yeah.
all the big clubs are surrounding him right now. So that's something I want to keep my eye on as well. That's an interesting factor because I actually seen it, read about it, and then I looked at some clips and stuff of him in his youth clubs and all, and he looks top job, top job.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a very, very fun time, and as I said, you sent me a massive list of these transfers, and I was like, man, holy, there's so much going on here.
There's
But
a lot going on. There's a lot going
yeah,
on.
there is. We're gonna read some questions from chat. Skill X679 says thoughts on Alvarez to City, Chris. Now I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I've seen him play all these games start to finish. I haven't. I've seen clips of him online. I did a bit of research to see what he plays like and see some of his highlights. He looks like a decent player. Like looking at him, I'm not seeing anything like, oh my god, like that is unbelievable. But I feel like having a player like him who's in a decent run of form, and I feel like when he comes under Pep, that's really when he's going to be the player that he should be. I feel like Pep is the type of guy who can bring these guys in and who can transform them into players who can work alongside the team that he has. Obviously, what Pep says goes in that team. Everybody runs a certain standard of football and everybody plays a certain way. It's why you see the likes of Jesus, who would formerly be known as a striker, being played out in the wing, because that's what Pep wants. He wants him out there and he wants that kind of that option. So I think that under Pep Guardiola is going to do a great job. Jenny, have you seen anything of this Alvarez kid, or have you just heard about him?
No, I've seen him. I don't think it's more so. Like I agree with you in a sense, but I don't think it's more so to the fact that what Pep's going to do for him. I think with the supply and the absolute incredible talent he has behind him, and that's going to be a feeding him the ball. I
Yeah,
don't think he can go really wrong from there, realistically. You know,
yeah, yeah,
um, to like it's any striker's dream to have the likes of De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, these kind of players, world class boys that can stick the ball to your feet. You know, from like that's every striker's dream. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You can put anyone up front, and if you have that kind of selection behind you, as long as you can finish the ball, yeah, I can't see a fault in it. I think he will definitely benefit Chiz a lot more than Jesus. No disrespect to Jesus. I just think this
mm,
Alvarez guy, Jesus, I find to be a very greedy player in a sense as well. Um, there's a lot of times like I've watched City's games, and there's a lot of
yeah,
times where he has the better option, and he's very greedy with the ball. But so is a lot of players, Salah's like that as well. So I can't really say much, even
yeah,
though like he has so many goals, he's still a greedy player in a sense.
yeah.
Um, but I definitely think, yeah, I think this kid will be a good addition to your team, 100%. It can only make you stronger, and it's kind of what you need,
Yeah, it's
especially when you're fighting on all fronts with the Champions League, the Premier League, the cups,
exactly.
so on and so forth. So
Yeah, no, like with Alvarez, obviously, we haven't signed like a proper striker for a bit of time, especially one that we're signing specifically to replace Aguero. But it'd be interesting to see him in, and I definitely think that give him a year, give him a season or so to fully gel with the squad. Obviously he's a young guy, so looking to get a couple of years out of him and see how he gets on. But yeah, I think he could really benefit the team.
yeah, 100% agreed.
Yeah, so going back to other comments here, Mr. Spadado Head said, Martial, I think, is one of these players that needs to be loved to get the best out of him. He was never loved at United. That's a big statement.
I
Um,
agree, though. I agree.
you agree with
I
that?
agree. Yeah, I agree completely. I agree. I don't think he got enough game time. I don't think he was given enough chances. Playing him for one game for 90 minutes and not playing him for two games, then that's just going to kill a player's confidence completely. 100%. I agree with that. I agree completely. Like as
Okay.
I said, like I see a whole different vision when I look at that United front line. It's totally different to what I put out there. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like love is such an interesting word to use in football, because like I feel like just with Martial, he was one of these players that maybe it could have been from lack of love or whatever, but one of these players who had mad potential and you didn't see them live up to it. I know Pogba's another example of it at United, where they sign a guy and everybody's in love with him, but like they don't really fulfill their job, and maybe that was why he swapped in and out of squads. Maybe, like obviously, some managers are like the other stairway or the highway. You don't really know what's going on, but when Martial was signed initially, you would have thought, oh, is this guy going to be the next Henry? Is he going to be hopping in here and doing bits for United? And yeah, like obviously he had a couple of decent seasons, well, okay seasons, what I say, but Yeah, maybe it was a style of play thing. I'm not sure. Obviously he's been sold out now, so Ragnick is
Tell you what, if you right, so with the current United team, right, we'll say Martial hasn't got it on loan yet, right? With the current team that United have, right, who would your starting 11 be?
at
If you
United.
if you were the manager and you were trying to make a difference in that team, who would your starting 11 be, and what formation would you play?
Oh man, Jesus Christ. Where do I start? Where do I start? Just from the back up.
Yeah,
Um,
you obviously have the De Gea, because De Gea right now is the best keeper in the world, in my opinion.
of course, of course. I don't know, man. With oh, where do I even start? Let me see. Well, we're all agreeing that Wan-Bissaka is probably not getting in there anyways in terms of wing back. You have your Varane. Who would you have? Man, I don't know. I definitely don't want Maguire.
You have Dalot over Bissaka anyway, 100%.
Yeah.
Dalot gets in over Bissaka all day, in my opinion. So,
what's that left back's name? I can't remember him. What's his name?
For United?
Yeah. Hang on, let me look up this squad. Tellez. I don't know. It's just like seeing the combo of Luke. You know, maybe like Luke Shaw had an unreal season last year, and this year I don't want to say if it's a pairing issue with Maguire, because we have seen Shaw being caught out, but I just don't know how to feel if if Tellez is gonna do like the job. Like I'm not sure. Actually, no. You know what I would start beside Varane to give him a chance? Phil Jones, man. I give him a chance for a couple of games. 100%, man.
You know who I would have, but they've let him go as well.
Who?
Tuanzebe.
Where did they send him off to?
He got sent to Roma, I believe.
Roma.
He got sent to.
Okay.
I think he got sent to Roma. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but
like that's the way I look at it. So like for me would be De Gea. I'd have De Gea, and then I'd have Dalot, Varane, Tuanzebe, Shaw, and then the middle I'd have Bruno, and I'm literally stuck. I don't want McTominay. I do not want Fred. I do not want Matic. I do not want Pogba.
Well, yeah.
I'm stuck.
Yeah, like I feel like just when you're comparing the this levels of skill as well from some of the players in the squad, you don't really have a pairing for some of these guys, do you? Like the way you're saying, like you have Bruno Fernandes, and like, right, who's a good pair for him? Like not anybody you can really think of.
Oh, Donny, actually, sorry, yeah.
Well,
Donny.
yeah, well,
Donny and Bruno, right? So
yeah.
you've got Donny and Bruno. Now, where do I go from there? Like, so obviously, then, as I said, my front three is completely different. Now, I know people are going to say, "Oh, they didn't play the same positions," or blah blah blah. But I'd still have it. I'd have Martial, Lingard, and Cavani as my top three.
It's crazy. So you're leaving Ronaldo out of that squad. That is absolutely madness. It is. I get what you're saying, though. You feel like he doesn't suit the play. I know that's exactly where you're going to come from with that, but I just like... It's just, in my head, it's like, man, Ronaldo can't be fully the issue. From like, players around him need to feed in a player of that standard. But, like, I get what you're saying, though. If they can't do it, then Ronaldo's useless, and it's two players who are useless instead of one. So, it's a tough one, and I know a lot of United fans are probably...
United fans are screaming at the monitor right now. Yeah. Screaming. Why is Ronaldo not there? I'm just being deadly honest. Right now, as I said, as a Liverpool fan, I want Mane gone. 100%. I want someone else in there, someone fresh.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what I mean? From watching, no, like at the end of the day, like nobody's like, we're not sitting here either and saying, "Oh, Ronaldo's the problem," blah blah. It's not that. He just going forward, he's just not that guy. Like he's not going to be the guy that's going to get United back to the heights that they were at, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get where you're coming from, but it's just for me, I see Funky Town 49 said it in the chat. He said Ronaldo isn't the issue. The issue is the same thing for the last 3 years. The striker gets no service, and once again, like I've said it previously about like the times you see Bruno Fernandes link up with Ronaldo, and it's absolutely beautiful when the two of them work together and they get a 1-2 pass off. It's absolutely class to watch. And you think, man, if Ronaldo had these players around him who could do something similar, surely he's going to be banging in goals left, right, and centre. But he doesn't always have that option. And you know, I suppose your striker's limit is the service at the end of the day. Ronaldo's not going to be the type of guy who can run the pitch. You know, he used to be, you know, back in the days at Madrid, he'd be flying by players and he'd be going ham, but he's not really that player anymore. He's the player that you give the service to, and he puts in the back of the net for you. So yeah, I just feel like United definitely need some talented midfielders and players who can feed him that service, but a lot to work with in that squad. So but as I said, it still is an exciting time for football, and I'm interested in seeing where United turn out in the end. I think they might scrape top 5 this year. I know a lot of people were like, United aren't going to get inside top 5. I think they actually might. How do you feel about United getting inside that top 5 placement, Jenny? No,
They're not going.
No, you don't think so?
They're not going to. I'm sorry. They're not going to. You're not going to get last minute winners every game. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you now. It's not gonna happen. They haven't got enough creativity. West Ham have took a little bit of dip in form. They'll bounce back. West Ham will overtake United again.
You think so, yeah?
If I'm to take a pick out of a bunch, Tottenham. I think Tottenham are going to get in there. I think Tottenham take 5th. I think West Ham finish 4th and Tottenham finish 5th. Chelsea have had a lot of bad run of form lately as well, but they'll pick back up. They'll definitely pick back up now that Liverpool definitely ain't going to fucking fall off. Not the fact now that if they win their game in hand, there's only 6-point gap between them and City, with City still to play in April. There's not a fucking hope Liverpool are going to fall off the wagon, and certainly City aren't going to. So for me, it's still like I'll still stand by it. If it happens, it's a comeback and a half. But I still stand by what I said. I said City, Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham, Tottenham.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. But you know, obviously we have another half a season to play, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see. So this week we've had a community question of the week. Now, of course, this is always on Twitter, so anybody listening, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Spotify or anywhere else, over on our Twitter, Howya podcast, this is where you can have your say on the topic of the week. This week's topic was by Tom DS, and he said, what are your thoughts on social media and its impact on mental health? Very, very good question, and it's one, Jenny, I know I spoke to you briefly about, is that you can come at it from really any angle. I'll let you start with this one. What are your thoughts on social media and its impact on mental health?
Social media in a whole is AIDS. It is AIDS.
It is, I agree.
Social media is the worst thing to ever happen to society. Like, it's literally, it's took the whole world of freedom of speech to a new level. Like, it really has. Like, everything rates wise, cyberbullying is next level on it. Insane.
Yeah. I think one of the big things about cyberbullying and things that is a big factor, and I know a lot of people will have different opinions on this, but just the fact of the kind of anonymity behind it, that, you know, somebody can be anonymous online and give you grief and do this to you, do that to you on social media, and even see, I'm sure you've had one or two experiences of it where people get a bunch of their friends and they go after you online, and there's not really a whole lot you can do. You just kind of got to sit there and accept it, because, you know, you can't see the person, you don't know where they're from.
It's definitely not. Like, it's like which I've had before, a group of people saying shit or targeting. Like, I go off on my Jenny ways, and, you know, I'm the one who gets banned. I'm the one who gets suspended for defending myself. You know, so it's so backwards as well. Like, I don't know if you see my tweet on the account that was made, the racist name account that was made. And I reported it to Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter literally sent me an email saying they weren't violating any breaks. Like, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You actually taking a piss? Like, what? You know? So it's literally like, Twitter's the worst of all of them. 100%. Twitter's definitely the worst.
It's really a cesspool for a lot of it, and I know we're talking about the impact on mental health, especially from a negative side point, but I think majority are going to see it from a negative standpoint. Now, there obviously is pros as well. Like, a pro for me, obviously, with social media is just being in contact with people, and, for example, even friends that want to chat to you for years. And then obviously, as a creator, social media is a tool. It's not always going to be there for talking to people. You can use it to promote your content and to build an audience, but there's always that negative side to it, and it's hard to get like, I feel like, correct policing with the internet. Like you said to yourself there, like it's a new era now, and you know, at this point you can't really even say your opinion online. Like you're really holding everything back, and like you said to yourself there, you know, people can attack you. And for anybody who was wondering about Jenny's situation, basically somebody made an account with a racist name and Jenny's name in it at the same time. And Jenny tried to report it, and Twitter were like, this isn't violating any rules. And then Jenny was like, what? And then at Twitter, and then they deleted the account. But people that can kind of get away with doing that. Now, obviously, Jenny, me and you are older, so we're well equipped to deal with these situations. But, you know, I wouldn't want to be a teenager, or even somebody who is of a low kind of mental state where they can't take criticism well. Because, you know, a lot of people nowadays are kind of like that, you know. They're growing up in that way. So I wouldn't like to be one of these people right now on social media and being in the scene, because it's got to be hard to deal with some of the comments people make online, and just how easy it is to be anonymous, you know?
Yeah, well, so the thing is, for me, like, especially if we want to really get into the depth of mental health and the online attributes to it, right? First of all, so it's gone to a stage now where literally people have just lost all sense of moral. Like, for anyone, they'll do anything for likes or anything for any sort of 5-minute fame.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, so then the other factor you got to play into is that these people rely too much on love from social media and all, to the point where then they go into depression mode because they can't deal with it. Because, like, when you're up there and you've made a banger of a tweet or a banger of a fucking video or something, anything, whatever the fuck it may be, you have to look at it from the point as well as that the next video they put out doesn't do as well. That person then sinks into the state of depression, right? Then they put out a tweet or they say, I don't feel myself and all. And you literally have people jumping on it. Ratio, your L1, all this smart bullshit, you know? The same, but these are the same people that were bandwagon and licking someone's arsehole who was doing well for themselves. It's a common factor, okay? People jump on the bandwagon too easy for people. And then when people suffer with their mental health and their state that they're going into, like, you know what I mean? And people go into a bad case of slump.
Yeah.
The people that you thought were supporting you from the get-go, who were supporting you then, have literally turned on you just because there's a new shining light came along. You know what I mean? Like, we see it every day, whether if we want to bring up, like, obviously I'm not going to mention names and all this shit, okay? But when we bring up the whole people look up to someone and they love what they do and all, and the next thing someone says one thing, and the next thing the whole fucking bandwagon starts cancelling this person. Do you know what I mean? Over, like, you know, so you've got these factors of where I look at it is that every single person out there, okay, needs to really look in the fucking mirror and reality check yourself to a point where you gotta understand someone. Everyone has fucking feelings, no matter who the fuck they are, no matter how strong or well built they are or how they come across to you, they still suffer, because the happiest cunt in the room is always probably the saddest person in the room. And nobody seems to care about the guy when he's suffering, but they only want to be a part of something when he's doing something good for himself. And it's a proven fact, Chris, every fucking day, every day. You know what I mean? And instead of the same people that look at these comments, yeah, they talk shit on these comments, are the same kids that probably have their own issues but want to fucking make someone else feel like shit just to make themselves feel better. That is the most fucking, it's one point that it roils me. But sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different points to that. Like, just to break it down on a basic level, if you're depending on social media for likes, and that determines your headspace, that's not normal. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously I know some people are in the line of work with it, but if you depend on likes and recognition online to be confident in yourself and to be in a good mental state, that's an issue with you. You know what I mean? I feel like you can obviously have knocks in life, and no matter what you do, you gotta get back up and deal with it. But if social media is a thing where you depend on other people to be like, oh, this is a like to show you that I agree with this or that, and that depends on your opinion being validated, like, that's definitely a you problem. And I know a lot of people are growing up in the era of social media where that's a big factor. I know a lot of people can relate to that, where they put out a tweet and it doesn't get a like and they'll delete it, or they'll do this and that, and that's sad, man. That's really, really sad if you're a person who needs validation from other people to to be able to speak your mind and to be yourself. And a lot of people are like that. I know nearly everybody in my chat is probably, not everybody, but I'd say a high percentage of people are like that, where if they put out a statement online and it doesn't get appreciated, then they feel like that, then, oh, that was a shit opinion, that was a shit take, or this and that, which is not really the case. But yeah, like as I said, with social media, I feel like a big factor for a lot of people is people don't like to see people succeed. People like to see people go down, because even if you're at a low level, and you see somebody above you getting put down to your level, for some of these guys online, they're going to see that as a positive thing. So it's why it's a lot easier to take someone down and to jump on a negative bandwagon than to support somebody. You know, I always make it my goal, man. Anytime I go on social media, if I see a tweet from somebody that I know, or like, I don't even read half the tweets. I'm just like. I want to support people and I want to bring people up, because it's so easy to tear people down, and it's so easy.
It's the same though. Like, people are too quick to judge. You know what I mean? Like, so you always have this as well. Like, so I seen a tweet, and just going back probably a few months ago, but I seen a tweet and someone put out, and they were expressing themselves online. Right. So 2 things here. One, is expressing yourself online the best way to go about something? Probably not. But sometimes it's their only out. It's their only way out. They don't feel comfortable talking to family, friends. They don't want to talk to therapists, so on and so forth. That's grand. If that's the way you want to get your expression out and it makes you feel better, grand.
Yeah.
But when someone puts out their feelings or their expression, okay, that's them building up the confidence to do that, to they're not looking for attention. I think that's them expressing themselves. Same way a rapper writes raps. Same way a poet writes poems.
It's expression, yeah.
All this expression, okay? So you have this person then pouring their heart out and so on and so forth. And that might make them feel better. After they got that out and they press that tweet button, and it's like, okay, it's off my chest now. You know, I feel a bit better.
Yeah.
But then 10 minutes later, your phone's going ding, 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 ding to someone or whatever. And you look at it or whatever. And you've got all these little fucking trolls on it. You know what I mean? Like, that just sinks the person even further below than they were when they actually expressed themselves in the first place.
Yeah.
So they've put them into a worse state of mind, because you think you're a fucking a big man behind a screen typing on a fucking keyboard. Like, you know, it's incredibly irritating, and it's one thing that, like, with the new generations, I call them the new generation. With the new generation, I can see everything at an all-time high. I can see bullying at an all-time high, suicide rates at an all-time high, mental health problems at an all-time high, overloads of care for people that psychiatrists not, overloads, overbooked. That's not down to COVID or lockdown. You can blame it if you want. Okay, there is some parts of it where people, like, you know, they did get into depression because they lost their jobs or what.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is down to online. It's not actually COVID that did it. It's online, because if you can't go outside, you're stuck to the online world. It's a proven fact, right? Because you can't go anywhere, can't do anything unless you're, like, you know, want to go for runs in the morning, whatever it is you do. But you're still going to go to social media. So the biggest outtake for me is social media is the reason why everything's fucked. Like, social media causes so much drama, so much drama, and there's so many people suffering that you wouldn't even think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know where you're coming from, and it's going back to what I said, man. Like, it's a lot easier to be negative online, and you know, I just feel like, you know, people need to step away from it sometimes, and like get pretty much get their act together, man. I'm not gonna lie, because like I'm not a sensitive person by any means, and I'm so happy I grew up in a time where social media wasn't really a thing. Like, you deal with real life situations, you deal with real life people, not people online. And you know, don't get me wrong, I was on the 360 back in the day, giving boys abuse, they're giving me abuse, the usual stuff. It hardens you, but you grow up knowing what's the real world and what's online. And now we're in a situation where it's all blended, and kids are growing. I'm gonna say people, mainly kids, are growing up into this world where social media is everything. It's some people's everything. It used to be everyone's nothing. No one cared, but now it's people's everything. So people are dependent on these likes and depending on their opinions. And like you're saying yourself, people express themselves online, and they depend on positive or negative feedback to judge how they're feeling. Like, I just feel like with social media for people, I know you're saying people express themselves online, and that's grand and all, but you have to, if you're posting on social media or you're on social media, you have to be open that people are going to be negative, and that's going to be most people's goal at the end of the day. unless you have a very supportive community, don't get me wrong, I put out a tweet, I always get a lot of support from my crowd. They're very, very good, but you can find trolls online very easily. They can find you even easier. And you know, like being on social media, that's always going to be a factor until we ever get to a point of technology where people are, you know, how do you say, vetted to be online. You know what I mean? They have literally like whatever their identity linked to an account, so if they say anything dodgy, but then, you know, that's a different world. You're talking about like social media not blending with like police and blah blah blah, and it's the only real way to stop the anonymity and people going around talking shit and bullying online and doing this and doing that. That's the only real way to stop it, realistically, but you're not going to see that for a long time.
I can't lie as well. Like, I feel like, and no disrespect or anything, but I feel like parenting has gone to the worst levels of ever.
Yeah,
the amount of shit parenting out there nowadays.
It's so
crazy.
true. So true.
Like, you have your 14, 13-year-old child up in a room telling someone to go do themselves, do this, do that. And, right? And then you've got I'm sorry, but half of these OnlyFans that these boys are linking up on, yeah, half these girls ain't of age. And I know for you can, it's so obvious, like, but you've got these creepy old bastards and all these fucking dirty, you know, and it's all just starting to fold on top of each other, you know what I mean? And now the girls getting naked is actually becoming a bigger job than fucking streaming. Like, you know, it's society is gone to a level where it's actually it's socially acceptable now to expect a woman just take her clothes off, you know, because she does it online. Like, it's actually fucking nuts, you know. And I do my best. I try and defend as many women as I can when it comes down to, especially getting girls that game and don't do that shit. But then you've got all these, every young lad now expects when he sees a girl streamer that she's getting her tits out. You know, and it shouldn't be the way it is. I'm sorry for saying tits, but you know what I mean.
Sorry, no,
right?
I know where you're coming from. Like, society, it's setting more of a false standard because of the fact that online is such a big deal now. We're seeing more of these people, and OnlyFans obviously is absolutely huge. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, it's kind of it's more of a false representation of what we would have perceived even prior to OnlyFans and prior to social media being big. Is like It's not. It's like it's just like, I'm sitting here, right, and I have to put myself in this position, Chris, right, because I am a father, right. Now, I don't have a daughter, thank the Lord, Jesus Christ, because she wouldn't be allowed outside. I'm telling you that. There'd be bolts on the door until she's fucking 21. No going out. No phone. Is that like Cinderella job?
I don't give a rat, man. This house would be like Alcatraz. Never mind fucking Cinderella, and that's a fact, right? That's just a fact. God. Okay. Straight up, right? So, anyway, I have two lads, right? Which I'm dreading the teen years. Like, I'm fucking dreading it because I know exactly what the crack is. But I'm being deadly honest here, right? So, I have the two boys. Now, I swear to God, if any of my boys, right, if I hear them in their room on their gaming consoles, whatever, and I hear them fucking ripping into someone, yeah? Like, proper, like, bullying. I don't mean, like, fuck you, you know, whatever.
Yeah, like,
you
properly,
know, we won't get too adept, but, like, you know, like, COD. That kind of
mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's grand. All good. Allow them that. But if I hear them up there degrading women or fucking talking about certain things, yeah, I'm telling you one thing, boy. He's coming out in the back garden. I'm a who come up and down the back garden. I swear to God, I'll have none of that shit. I swear. That's not. Listen, I was reared totally different to these boys how they're reared today. Straight up. Our granddad, right? My granddad, God rest him. I swear, if even we raised our voice to Nanny, bit the fuck you're dead. You know what I mean? You're running. You know, you're trying to make it out the front gate before he gets to you because you're fucked. You know what I mean? And that's how it was back in the day. Back in the day, you were brought up to show respect in every aspect. Now you're just allowed to run muck. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened to the parenting system?
Yeah.
Like, is it, you know, I can't.
I agree. I agree exactly what you're saying. There was definitely a lot more respect forged back in the day, and even when I grew up, and don't get me wrong, like, I was a little shit every now and then, but there's always that factor there. But I feel like nowadays, because of lack of parenting and stuff, it's a factor why you're seeing all this negativity online, because you see some of these kids, and I always say it, I'm like, man, who bred these beings,
exactly.
like these gremlins? Like, how do you grow up?
These same kids come in, right, and they're like, oh, you're a bad parent because you're on the stream, you're not looking after your kids. I'm like, who are you talking to, you little runchie? You're sitting in your room. going around abusing people online while your mother's downstairs puffing on the last bit of her gear bag. Fuck off.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
no, yeah, I feel like I feel like that's a part of like kids growing up in social media though, as in like kids are handed a phone nearly the moment they're born, so they're getting into this and it's a norm to them, and because of the abundance of young people online now, and obviously like you're saying, that mixture with the whole kind of lack of parenting, like I don't know any kids nowadays who their parents are like, I'll 100% be a parent to do it, to tell their kids how to act online, because it's different from the real world. Like you can't like there's so much impressions online for people to be super negative and to say exactly stuff that's going to piss people off, and you know what I mean. You got to teach them how to actually act online and how to be around people, because like going back to the original topic, it affects people's mental health when people are getting ganged up on, bullied online.
But the thing is as well, like I said, and kids out there as well, like there's some kids out there that are suffering with mental health issues, because I'm not being bad, but you've literally got, like, you've got kids that are 15, 16, and their ma's like 35, 40, yeah? And she's down in the kitchen shaking her arse doing a TikTok video. and she puts that shit out, and his mates then see that, and they wonder why he gets bullied. But you know what I mean, though? Like, it's literally like it's I'm sorry, but like I go through TikTok, right? And I don't know how half this shit comes up. But on my thing, it's like, ding dong, 40, Irish, single, 16 kids.
Yeah.
Like, hello?
No, I get what you're saying. Like even like, I mean, I as a kid, I can't even imagine being in that situation, man, where you're growing up and your old lady's making TikToks online.
If my old woman shaking her arse on TikTok, lad, she'd be I'd deport the bitch.
Yeah.
Straight up. No, couldn't be having that.
Yeah, I mean, like I suppose, well, I don't know if it goes down to bad parenting or whatever, but I mean, at the end of the day, whatever you do online is obviously going to affect how your kids grow up. And bear in mind, you know, obviously, you know, you have kids, and, you know, someday I plan on having them as well. You know, definitely there's going to be a point where I have a kid and they look back what I'm doing and they're like, what the fuck's all this? But it's gone so far with the likes of OnlyFans and with other things going on that, you know, yeah, like going back to what you said about even
it's not just OnlyFans. Did you know there's like, I didn't know about this, but apparently there's like 5 or 6 different sites now. It's not just OnlyFans. It's like there's other bits and bobs that you can put your bits on.
Oh, I wouldn't have a clue, man. I only know OnlyFans.
Yeah, no. Well, it's like if you don't turn off your ads for Instagram, yeah. If instead of OnlyFans popping up now, there's this new thing again, like and you click on the cunt, and the next thing, boom, there's just it's there.
So you're clicking on
them. Know, it's just there. I can't remember the name of it, but it's just there. And you're like, how do I get off? And you try to back out, and it comes up. You know, do you want to buy this? No, you're like, no. And the wife's walking into the door. You're like, Jesus Christ, will you fucking X off the fucking thing?
You hear the slippers coming down the hallway. You're trying to X off the hook. Mission Impossible job. Lord Almighty. But no, I get what you're saying. It's just like everything's gone a bit wild, and like I feel like anybody of not to say obviously that anybody watching the stream or listening to the podcast right now, like that your opinion is invalidated, but you know, Jenny, you grew up in a different time, and I grew up in you know, a slightly younger generation, obviously, where
I grew up in a time where you literally wouldn't get to second base for 6 months. That was my time. Like you literally, like, there was no such thing as clicking the thing, or back then you actually used to have to pay for porn, so you could never do that as a young lad. Never happened, like, you know what I mean? We didn't have the privilege of all this. But nowadays, it's literally on social media. You don't even have to go to porn sites anymore. You just click Instagram, and it's there.
No, it's
Twitter. It's there. It's
so true, man. Even TikTok as an example, man. Like if you're in the gaming category, you're gonna see all these young ladies with a PlayStation controller in their hand, shaking their arse when you're going through, and you're like, man, like it's just it transfers into everything, and it's just a mad year in general. But we'll go slightly back on topic about the whole mental health side of it. As I said, yeah, there's definitely some positives. As I said, if you use social media as a tool, or you know, to contact people, obviously, and like as I said, like for me, I have contact with still guys that on Facebook that I knew from school, and it's great to chat to them every now and then. It can be used for good things, but definitely the negative side is going to be the most highlighted and the most talked about.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just
It is, yeah. Like, so obviously, like, didn't mean to get too far off topic, but a lot of that infuses back into why people have mental health
No,
problems,
no,
because
it does, of course.
it's like, obviously, if as I said, we were going through the parts with it. So if a kid's putting out videos on TikTok, doesn't have to, and they're trying to make something for themselves and they don't do well and they have haters on it, boom, bang, puts them in state of depression, boom, mental health. Same then with these girls. These girls are putting their bits out on the fucking thing, and then all
Yeah,
it takes is one person to comment saying, something terrible. We won't go into too much depth to it, but
yeah,
then bang, that girl's fucking like, I'm ugly and blah blah blah, and women take it a lot more harder than men. Men suffer a lot. There's a lot more men that suffer than women with mental health. It's a fact. But men just keep it intact, like they store that shit. Women's
yeah.
totally different.
I mean,
For women, it's totally different. If a woman thinks she's ugly or she's fat or she's, all these things, it's a totally different ballgame. You know what I mean? It's really like that's the worst thing for a girl. That's the
yeah,
worst thing for a girl, to be for her looks to be dismantled. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, it's
Regardless of anything else.
yeah, no, it is a big deal. If there's one thing to come away from this conversation to anybody in chat, and take it from somebody who I definitely consider myself to be in a very, very good mental state. I don't think anybody can really fully get on my nerves or fully get to me, whether it's online or even in person. My one bit of advice would be, don't use social media as a tool for validation. Use it to express yourself. Use it to post positivity. Now, don't get me wrong, like Jenny said, if you're feeling down, you can use social media. Would recommend, though, going to your friends if you are really feeling down about things, or going to somebody if you are feeling in a bad mental state. But use social media in a way to express yourself, and you don't need to be validated through likes. You don't need to be validated through people commenting. Just be you at the end of the day, and people will like you for being you. The real people who care about you will like you for being you and support you for being you. They're not going to like you because you're putting out something that's trendy, putting out a topic that's going to get likes. They're going to like you for being you at the end of the day. And those are the people you want to surround yourself with, whether it's on social media or even in person, with your real life friends. Those are the people who you want to stick with you, because they're going to be the positive people that you bounce off, and they're going to help you live a more positive life, and especially with mental health as well. What advice, Jenny, would you give to anybody in the stream as well in regards to social media and how you feel like they should deal with it? Because I know you've been through a lot yourself.
So obviously, like, it depends on, obviously, as I said, the person itself. I'm very thick skinned. Like, I'm very, very thick skinned. But at the same time, I'm currently on fucking uh tablets for this shit, like antidepressant and all that. But I don't boast about it and I don't talk about it
Yeah,
because I've learned to deal with it. Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, just be like me. Fuck everyone else in their opinion. Just be yourself. Stay true to yourself. Do what you love doing. That's all you need to do. Focus on the people around you that actually get along with you. Don't go looking for appreciation of people that wouldn't give it to you in the time of day. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so, you know what I mean? Just don't let shit get too much to you too fast. Or if you feel like you're being overloaded by shit, take time away. Just put the fucking phone down. You know what I mean? Go spend time with your proper friends, whatever it is. But long term, talking is definitely a good thing though. Never bottle shit up.
yeah,
Bottling it will fuck you over. It really will. I did it for a long time, and it came out in many different bad forms.
yeah.
Aggression and anger,
Mm.
drinking too much. Dumb shit. So definitely always speak. If you don't have anyone to speak to, there's always help out there. You just gotta look. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, main thing to take away from this, guys, is don't rely on social media for validation. I feel like that impacts a lot of mental health for people. Be true to yourself, post your opinion online, express yourself, but only look for if you are looking for validation at all, it should be off the close people in your life. It should be people you maybe know in person, or people online who you actually care about, like Jenny said, that have the time of day for you. But look, I think that was a great podcast. I really, really like that last segment. And once again, shout out to Tom DS for a really, really good topic. You could really talk about that all day. So major props to Tom. Very good question. Of course, anybody listening in at home, you guys can have a say in what we talk about every week over on Twitter. At Howya Podcast is the tag, guys. Go over there. On Monday, you will have a post up, and all you got to do is comment your question that you want to see being answered. And of course, the most liked comment will be the one that we go into. Jenny, ending topics for this podcast.
Ending topics.
Yeah, ending conversation, should I say?
Okay. Yeah, ending conversations for today. So obviously, shout out to Putin and the boys. Stay stay humble. You know,
Get them in for a pint.
yeah, just don't go crazy. Obviously regarding mental health, don't be afraid to talk to someone or ask anybody. In regards to football, interesting stuff coming up. Hopefully, De Bruyne hurts himself for the rest of the season. And no, that's bad. That's bad. But no, all in all, it's been a great podcast. I want to thank absolutely everybody. Make sure that if you haven't, get over and follow the fucking Twitter boys at the Howya podcast on Twitter. Obviously, the bigger we grow, the more we can do with this for the future. And yeah, thanks for everyone tuning in and listening on all the platforms. And appreciate you.
We appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.